Good morning, beloved. How many enjoyed the testimonies? I like Hebron's testimony. No dog can't die today because I have to show up at church tomorrow or I've not planned the funeral. See how the mind works? I wonder if your friend is hearing this, the root of that. Uh, so, how many know we need a mirror in beloved? Because I was watching some of our videos, our hair is like this, like that. Hebron's hair is like that, like that. Someone messaged me on Instagram saying, how come you all don't put your stories up anymore? I realize people follow us on Instagram also. They're unbelievers, but they're intrigued by church. And so one of those stories is to be me standing in front of the mirror and taking zoom out and then all the church. And then I realized, yeah, this place has no mirror. So we need two things. We need yellow lights and we need a mirror. So we're going to get a mirror here. So then those Instagram people, you'll have the stories again. So I like the words that came today. Okay, the dam. Who shared that? Devyani shared. She had a vision of a dam. Okay, and water filling in. Okay, what is a dam? A dam. Is it a God structure or man-made structure? Man-made structure. So a dam holds the water. It's almost like the water is meant to flow and the dam constricts it. Correct? So what would happen if the dam is destroyed? Water will flow. That means the Holy Spirit can flow. So what is the dam? It's a bad word also. Dam is strongholds in our head, man-made strongholds that come from Adam. And it's almost like the Lord is saying through this message now, when the dam comes out, the strongholds are broken, then I can flow. That means there can be a lot of you in there. And then when you get out of the way, he can flow. Okay, and that's what it means. And I believe this word is going to do that. So I was asking the Lord, I said, what am I going to share? What do you want me to share yesterday? And so the whole day I was preparing for one thing. And then after 8 o'clock, I had another thing. And then I asked him, and I was like, the whole day I've been preparing on something else. Like I was reading something else. So when I prepare the word, I don't really prepare what I'm going to speak. I see where my heart needs ministering. So I keep feeding, like I drink water where I need filling. And then out of that overflow, then I'm able to see. That's how I do it. Okay. So the whole day I was just ministering to myself. And then at 8 o'clock, I had another word. And he was like, what did I speak last week? Not what Hebron spoke last week. What did I speak last week? So I was like, yeah, you spoke on trials and testings from God. There are trials and testings that come from the devil. And then there are trials or little testing that comes from God. And we're teaching how to discern, which is what. Okay. So he was like, yeah, you're going to teach my children, my sons, how to overcome and how to even discern. And how many are excited about that? So who spoke last week? Jesus. Hebron didn't speak. Someone went and told Hebron, you have to crack more jokes. You have to become like JP. Excuse me, beloved is a school. Do you go and tell the school teacher how to perform? How many of you have gone in your school, 4th standard, 5th standard, and then gone and told your teacher, you should do this? What you'll get from the teacher? One slap. Or Sida E, A, B, C, D. D is fail, no? D is fail. In our SLS on Wednesday, we were talking about grace. I don't know when this was. And someone shared testimonies of how they passed. That someone shared here, no? Fatima shared, I think. Jedi was failing in Marathi. I don't want to announce this. But when they grow up, you need the wisdom of God and grace to get ahead. So he was failing in Marathi, and Fatima got a word that meditate on the law of the Lord, and you will be blessed in whatever you do. So she is telling her kid, okay, you're not in Marathi, but at least focus on the word, and you'll pass. And then what happens at the end? The teacher suddenly, she gets a message from the teacher saying, we have decided to condone him and pass him. And this kid who's failed is passed. So we were talking about that. And in my school, I remember French, I used to fail. And I think I got 37, but my teacher calculated it wrong and she wrote 87. So that would make me because the highest was 91 or something like that, and 87 was the second. That made me the topper. And I was a leader, and I made sure no one checked my French paper. Only I knew the counting had gone wrong. But because of that counting, my rank didn't dip. Now I look at it as the Lord who did that counting mistake. Okay. But I'm just saying we live in this world by the grace of God. And every time you'll get ahead is by grace. You look at Joseph's life. How did he get ahead? Did he go to school? Maybe he went to school. But when the time came, God appointed him and then God promoted him. So how do in the kingdom, how do sons work? Our promotion comes from the Lord, not from the wisdom of man, but from the wisdom of God. Okay. So I'm going to go into, let's get into the word. It's going to be an exciting time. Beloved is awake. Okay. So I love what Hebron spoke last week. Okay. Two types of trials. I'm just going to go up a bit. Next time I'm going to get a clicker. Go up. Two types of trials. Okay. Trials that are from Satan, the devil. You think they're from God? They're not from God. They're from Satan. Okay. And that word is pyrazo, which means the trial comes to attempt, to cause, to fail. That's what it means in the Greek. And then he spoke about then Jesus was led up in the spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. This is when Jesus gets baptized. The word comes, you are my beloved son. So when does the trial come? After something you've got. So the trial is not there to make you get something. The trial, if you're going through a trial, is because you've already got something. Something has been released into you. And the trial is actually to now pull out that seed out of you. That, hey, no, you don't have it. And that's what you're standing is because you already got it. The victory is already yours. Okay? I've named this sermon as whatever is born of God overcomes the world. You were born an overcomer. You were born victorious. Say, I'm born victorious. I'm born an overcomer. Whatever is born of God, are you born of God? You're born of the second seed, the seed of Christ. Then whatever is born of Christ has already overcome the world. That means whatever you're going through in any area, if you're going through it, there is one purpose that God has for you, to overcome it and to be victorious in it. So what is your job? Not to run away, but to confront and overcome. Okay? Now let's see James 1. Let no one say when he is tempted, I am tempted by God, for God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he himself tempt anyone. This is again temptation. So comes from whom? Satan. Is God tempting you? God cannot be tempted. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm quickly going to do this. So we just remember what Hebron shared last week. Trials and testings from God. Dokimazo. This is to test, to examine the genuineness of something. This is something that you go through that tests your own faith. Or this is sometimes in leadership, a situation comes where it really tests and we can see the faithfulness towards leadership. And these are the trials. And this I'm going to talk about probably next week. Okay. But let's go ahead. But I'm going to talk about some of the testings that you might go through. So the trials that come from the devil, how are you going to discern? You're going to discern it that this is from the devil. And so something that God wants you to see, and you're going to discern of how I'm going to overcome this through my identity. And then the trials that are from God is to show something that I need to see, that I can't see, and that the Lord is bringing in me or wants to get out of me. You're seeing what I'm saying. Okay. So one is what? It's making you see that it's not from me. It's not from God. But when you overcome it, it's going to show you who you are in him. And another one, a trial or a testing to show you what is not of him in you. And that needs to get out. And that is something that God does because it's the old man. And sometimes a situation comes that really tests and it needs to go to the cross. Okay. So let's go ahead. Okay, one second. Just go up. Okay, go up. I don't want to take this. No, you can, like that. That's why I need a clipper. Okay. John 16, verse 33. In the world, you will have tribulation. What does it say? Tribulation. In the world, you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. Yesterday, I was speaking with somebody from Dubai, and every time all of you are going through some problems. Someone is going through maybe financial things, someone is going through relationship, mother-in-law, bickering, maybe someone husband, maybe someone health. It says here, if you're in this world, trials and tribulations are just going to be there. So I was talking with someone from Dubai, and it looks like everything is going, why are these things happening? I said, because we're here. If you don't want any problems, we have to leave this body and be somewhere else. So the question is not why. The problems are there in everyone's life. They come to everybody. But the question will be how you see them. And if they are there in your path, they are there to be overcome. Yes? So instead of saying why, say how am I going to overcome this? Because everyone has them. Jesus also had them when he was walking. I told you when Jesus was in the storm, there was him sleeping and then the other ones all anxious. And maybe second round, when it was him in the storm, maybe they would be sleeping. So problems come to everyone. One is still and one is anxious with it. So it depends on how you overcome. So why do trials come? If the trials come, it literally shows us the area that we may not see ourselves as sons. And then the more you start seeing yourself as a son in that area, it will not be a trial for you because you've already overcome. It might be a trial for somebody else. Like how many know when you look at each other's lives, in money area, I can be very resolved and rested because I know how to rule in this area. I've done this. But maybe for somebody else, it's not as easy. Maybe health to somebody else in one area is very easy, but to somebody else, it's really overcoming. So how does that differ? How is one conquering and one not conquering? It talks about how much they're using the word, taking that word in, applying it, and then overcoming it. Like Joshua shared a testimony today. Okay, he was feeling dizzy. Now, maybe there was somebody else also could be feeling dizzy. And that person, at that time, Joshua took that word, no, it's not in my nature to be dizzy. And then he took that word, who he is. Now, that's the point where you ground it, right? Your sonship. That means you're hearing something and then you don't know how to take that. He took that word for himself and he says, you know what? Everything is telling me to go sit on the chair. No, I'm not going to sit on the chair. I'm a new creation. It's not in my nature. And then what happens? Everything goes away. Maybe there was somebody else who had the same situation, but maybe goes and sits on a chair, drinks water, doesn't come for a week. Is there condemnation? No. But it's just overcoming. I always say, learn to overcome in small things. Because David did that. And that's part of sonship. How much you're taking that word and applying it for your situation. That's why I said, don't ever look at each one's race. If you look at each one, if you look at your person next to you, you will get maybe discouraged. You run your race at your own pace with the Holy Spirit. So I never box up how Jesus should work. If he's working in a certain way in my life, he might work in a very different way in my mother's life. And allow the Holy Spirit to work where you're at because he knows you perfectly. You're receiving this word? Okay. Now I want to read this. So Matthew 13. Okay. Jesus talks about the seed. Seed falls on the ground. Do you want to overcome in all the issues that you're going through? Do you want to? Sons are not crying. Enough of crying, then you feel bad, then you're sitting there for a long time. Or then either we talk about, come on, let's talk about the solution. Right? Don't you like to be around people who give solutions rather than problems? In Beloved, we have one funda. Funda means for foreigners. What's funda? Fundamental solution. One thought process. If you see the problem, God has chosen you to fix it. Don't come to us with your problems. If you see the problem, you have been chosen by him to fix it. Okay, so then come with the solution to us. So, Matthew 13, what does it say? Let's read. That same day, Jesus went out of the house and was sitting beside the Sea of Galilee. But such a large crowd gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat there, positioning himself as a teacher while the whole crowd stood on the shore. He told them many things in parables, saying, listen carefully. A sower went out to sow seeds in his field. And as he sowed, some seed fell beside the road, between the fields, and the birds came and ate it. Other seed fell on rocky ground where they did not have much soil, and at once they sprang up because they had no depth of soil. But when the sun rose, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. Other seed fell among thorns, and thorns came up and choked them out. Other seed fell on good soil and yielded grain, some 100 times as much was sown, some 60 and some 30. He who has ears, let him hear and heed my words. So the seed that fell on good soil yielded 30, 60, 100. Do you want to be good soil? You know, you can choose to be good soil. Can you choose to be good soil? You can choose. The next verse shows that you actually can choose whether you're good soil or not. Okay, and if you want to yield a 30, 60, and a 100, that means the choice is whose? The choice is whose? It's yours. Okay, God is not partial. The same word is going out to everybody. It depends on the soil, and you can choose to be good soil. And now let's look at what God calls good soil, or how is your soil good soil. Okay, now let's see what Jesus says. Listen then to the meaning of the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom regarding salvation, now this could be the word in general, okay, and does not understand and grasp it, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in his heart. This is one on whom the seed was sown beside the road. So the one beside the road is the word comes, then what happens? Either they are sleeping in church, their eyes are closed, they don't know how to rule the flesh here. And so understanding has not come, they've not grasped it. And so the word is gone. Okay? Now see this. This is the one of whom the seed was sown beside the road. The one on whom the seed was sown on rocky ground, this is the one who hears the word and at once welcomes it with joy, yet he has no substantial root in himself, but is only temporary. And when pressure or persecution comes because of the word, immediately he stumbles and falls away, abandoning the one who is the source of salvation. That means pressure comes because of him only, Jesus. Persecution might come. Someone said something. And now what happens? Because of that, the seed is not able to bear fruit. Okay? And the one on whom seed was sown among the thorns, this is the one who hears the word when the worries and distractions of the world, the worries and the distractions, 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 distractions. I want you to start knowing what distractions are, because you think it is the boss, but who is it saying? Who is after the distraction? Who is behind the distraction? Satan. So the distractions are coming through many people, through many things, and you think it is the things, you think it is the people, but here the Lord is saying it is him. And what is the purpose of that important little thing that you thought was so important? To take away the seed. So what do? You guard the seed. One second, let me read ahead. But the worries and distractions of the world and the deceitfulness, that means deceitfulness what? What is deceit? Lies, trickery, the deceitfulness, the superficial pleasures and delights of riches choke the word and it yields no fruit. That means the very blessing that God has given you can become a distraction if you don't watch it. Is it from God? Yes, it is. But you keep it in the place that it is from God and do not allow the devil to use it and make it a distraction. That is discernment for a son. Now we'll talk about these things, okay? And the one on whom seed was sown on good soil, this is the one who hears the word, understands and grasps it. So, what is the difference between the good soil? He hears the word, understands it, but he was also able to do the above two. Your understanding. He was able to discern the above two. That means the worries came, the distractions came. What else? The pressure came, the persecution came, and he did not allow the seed to be taken. That means he stood. So, what is good soil? That is good soil. Now, you see in your life how many distractions come. They're usually very important. They are the most important. They are distractions. But one thing, if you sons learn to guard the seed, learn to invest in the word, then it says that this person will bear 30, 60, 100. That means there is nothing keeping from that word from bearing fruit in your life. And most people are not able to discern this, discern it. Okay. And I want you to say, I am discerning. Say, I have the spirit of discernment. That means you can discern when distractions are coming. You can discern the worry. You can discern, yeah, the blessing. This is the blessing of God, but I will keep it as the blessing. I won't get distracted by the blessing. And you're going to learn to overcome all this. And what happens? You're going to bear abundant fruit. Okay. Now, I want to talk about pressure and persecution because of the word. Recently, I'll give you an example. Someone in Dubai was sharing of how they were moving into a new house. Now, God has blessed them with this amazing house. I'm so excited for it because this is a testimony that this person desired it for the longest time and how they're going to move out into a new house. Now, in this house is going to be a place for even a prayer meeting, like sons gathering together. Now, this person stood and said, now they come from a Hindu household. There are many other, people involved, and rituals might be happening. And they said, let's do a puja. And this person came strongly and said, sorry, no puja in my house. Now, after this word was spoken, no puja in my house, you think the devil is sitting. Now, what happens? Pressure and persecution has come. Now, things begin to go little, looks like little crazy. So the person's has children. The one of the kids is in a school bus. The bus meets with an accident. It wasn't an accident. It was maybe a knock. But it looks like that. And then something else is happening with the husband's car or whatever. Now it looks like that. But is it the truth? Because once you're in, can I have that board up? Why did the persecution come? Because of the word. Because what is going to happen in that house? Sons are going to come together and meet. And this person was very truth, stood up for the truth, the word. Now, always know whenever you stand up for the truth, all of heaven is going to back you up. So relax. And all God wants you to do is in that situation is to stand and not withdraw. So now, because of a little pressure and persecution coming, this person begins to shake and feeling like, oh, where is this coming from? Why are these bad things happening? Is God forsaken me? Who is causing all the bad things? What does it say here? Yet he has no root, but is only temporary. And when pressure or persecution comes because of the word, that means who is giving the pressure and persecution? God is giving. Satan is giving. But what does it say, the last one? He who understands, grasps it. We'll talk about it in another scripture. It says someone who just stands. That means pressure is coming, persecution is coming, but you still stand. And you're going to yield 100-fold fruit. You're in this world. You're in this world. Do you believe that truth? If you don't believe that truth, I hope this doesn't fall. If you don't believe that truth, what will happen? You're believing a lie. You're in this world. God says he pulled you out of darkness into righteousness, into his kingdom. This is death realm. This is life. You're in this world, but not of this world. He pulled you out and you're in Christ. We told this person is, this person started shaking, and now what happens in trials, you begin to doubt who you are. Because that seed, the temptation and all of these things outside, they come, and what are they doing? Making you question, are you really the Son of God? Why are these things happening to you? All the more reason why you should be rejoicing and say, this shows that I am. That's why all these things are coming. And at the end of the day, we just told this person, I said, just stand, because you're standing for the truth. And within 2 days or 3 days, this person messaged and said, yes, all things are fine. This person came and said sorry, so the puja is not going to be in my house, and all of these things, and everything sorted itself out. But what did this person have to do? Stand. So when persecution and pressure comes, you don't withdraw. You stand, and that's where you need the body to help you just stand. Like relax, stand, you're right, you're we're on the side of truth, and all of heaven and earth is going to back you up. You are understanding what I'm saying? Okay, now see this. The deceitfulness of riches, okay, that means choke the word. That means you got that amazing job that you were praying for the longest time. God has given it to you. But if God has given you something, then also know how God will never give you something that takes away the seed. You got it? That means I've blessed you so much that now there is no time for the word. Doesn't come like that. If God gives you something, then he'll make sure, because he is saying the most important thing is to guard the seed. So why will he give you something that takes you away from the word? So it can come from God, but in that time, you need wisdom of God to know when to say yes and to know when to say no. Okay, so I'll give you my own example. I told you I work, and I've used this example before, but I'm going to say it for the benefit. Why? Because beloved is becoming discerning. So that the number one thing, if you rule over your cares, the distractions, if you rule over the pressure, the persecution, it says to rule over it. That means now you have made your soil good. You're protecting that seed. And now when that seed is protected, now it is yielding harvest in your life. So you're becoming wise. The most important investment you'll do is not go to sleep during this time. So learn to rule your flesh here. If you learn to rule your flesh here in this 1 hour, you'll be able to go to the gym also. Those who want to lose weight. I'll tell you, because you learn to rule your flesh and keep your eyes open here. The gym is also flesh. You learn to go there. You learn to hold it when you want to give back. Guard it here in the small. This is the greatest investment you'll do. Okay? I forgot what I was saying. My testimony. I want to show you something. I told you, right? Like before I did into designing, I had a company come in and I started working. I was doing interiors. I was doing visual merchandising. And this big company decided to work with me. And they gave me, and I saw money like I'd never seen before. And then I was doing only two major, their seasons of spring, summer, and their festive seasons, or like 4 seasons a year that we split up: autumn, winter, all of that, summer. And it was very good because it was easy. It's divided for 12 months a year, so four. So I could use my brain for, four different designs. And then they decided to give me every month something to do, every 2 months. So now it's becoming too much. And I was getting very busy. And then what was happening? The money became less. In those, the major ones, they wanted to spend more money. But the smaller ones, they didn't want to spend that much money because they was like, it's Valentine's Day. It lasts only 10 days. We don't want to invest so much. I said, but the time I will take is the same. The materials I'm using are the same, whether you keep it for 10 days or whether you keep it for 4 months. So it was not looking like good investment. And you know what was happening? I was not getting any time for the word because mentally I was so under pressure. And I was like, 1 second. I said, it came like God, but now the devil has gotten in. And I have to discern here. So it can start up, but you have to know when to walk away from something. And that is, I think the body doesn't, or some people don't use that discernment. Like, yeah, I got it. But do you know that God is seasonal, that he can now say, it's time to say no to this, because now I'm going to take you somewhere else. And that's where discernment comes in. And I had to write an email and say, I only want to do the main four. I don't want to do all these extra things you're giving me. And everybody at that time said, they are the biggest company. They want to work with you. And you're saying no. Because I know my Father. He will never take away the word. This has become a distraction now. And I can see that it is not God. And so I wrote an email and they said, we can't do business with you. And then the next thing happened in a month's time. I entered into something else. I entered into the film industry, and whatever I didn't, I made probably for the whole year, I was making it in a few months. Because when God gives you something, always remember that. What will he give you? You will work less. You will have more time. But did I tithe time that time? Did I say no to it? When busyness was coming, did I choose it? I said no. So as a son, you have to learn to say no. And then you are added with things. The more you invest in this, I'll show you how to rule time. You want to learn how to rule time? One of the greatest things that people talk today is they don't have time. How many people complain? Put up your hands. You don't have time. You want to rule time? I am blessed with time. If anybody knows, I have a lot of time. And I'm not lying about it. You can ask my mother, you can ask my cousin. If PP is blessed with something, I'm blessed with time. But see, I invested in time. How many know that everything yields after an investment? You invest in time, that then you multiples. You've done mutual funds. I'm telling people here how to get rich. Invest in this, you put in a little, and then it keeps yielding, and now it's multiplying. Why? It's because you made some investments before. Let's go to the next word, and I'm going to show you how to rule time. Do you want to rule time? So first, you have to choose it. It's a choice given. Look at this. Martha and Mary. Okay? Now it happened as they went that he entered a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. The him is Jesus. And she had a sister called Mary, who also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word. But Martha was distracted with much serving, and she approached him and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has... What did she do? The sister left her to serve alone. Therefore, tell her to help me. And Jesus answered and said to her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many things, but one thing is needed. And Mary has chosen, So what do you have to do first? Did I choose? I chose. I said no. I did not have plan B that time, but I chose first. And when I chose, I was given. Now, see this. It says here, Mary has chosen that good part which will not be taken away from her. Now, there is a truth in this, and I explained this to some a couple of days ago. So, what did Mary do first? Now, Jesus has come. The most important thing in Mary's house, in Martha's house. Now imagine the most important thing has come, but someone is not looking at it as the most important thing. I can't make you see that, you have to see for yourself. So that's why I'm saying it is not whether can you come for this meeting, can you attend the, I always say it's not can I, this is not about me. Is it important for you? Because who's going to get blessed? You. So the question is not whether PP is it okay. It's not whether it's okay for me. Is it okay for you? This is about you. And so Mary, Jesus comes in, Martha does not look at him as the most important thing. But Mary knows that he is the most important thing, and she leaves whatever she was doing for this one thing. So first she decides to say no to somebody. She said no to Martha. It looked rude. You said no to the boss. You don't know what's going to happen. I've just said no, I'm going here. I've said no to, I had to take care for something. I said no and I just went. Okay, now it looks a little bit rude because it looks like you don't care. Correct? Yes. It looks inconsiderate because you left something, you said no to something. Mary said no to Martha. She goes, but then how does God discern it? How does Jesus discern it? Does Jesus look at it as not caring? He looks at it as like someone tithed time to me. You know how you tithe time? Tithing time. You know when you tithe your money, what happens? It multiplies. When you tithe your money, how do you do? You take a tenth of your money, you tithe it so that it's never stolen from you. That's why you tithe the money. So that anything else, whenever you take your tenth and tithe it to Jesus, your high priest, whatever the rest is, it becomes holy. That means you're not getting the flat tires, you're not wasting, the money is not going here and there, it is held for you, it becomes holy. That's how you tithe it. And that's how you make money your servant, so that you rule over it. But how do you tithe time? If all of you want time, I'll show you how you tithe time. You always choose the one thing. First, you choose it. It's another thing. I always say first, you decide if you want to come. I told in Dubai, when the camp was there, I said, I didn't ask you, can you come? Because there was this lady there, you know her testimony. She said her husband will say no, she didn't have finances, so I can't come. I said, I didn't ask if you can. I asked, do you want to come? It's a choice. And I said, if you decide that you want to come, then you know what happened? Miracle money appeared in her ATM. And I said, go and tell your husband. She's saying, he said no. I said, no, he will change. She goes and tells her husband in the night. He gets irritated, goes to sleep. In the morning, he goes and says, you should go. How did it change? So I want to show you what Jesus did here. It says first Mary chose. And then when Mary chose, now Jesus stands up to Martha and says, sorry, boss, because she has chosen, now I sanctify this for her and no one will be able to take it from her. That means now Jesus goes forward and sanctifies your time, that no boss, no project, no nothing can come against it. It is a tithe. Can you see the tithe of the time here? That means I've seen some people, things are constantly coming in their path, but they're not coming in other people's path. They're not coming in Jesus's path because it is tithed. Nothing is allowed to come. So if things are coming in your path, is because you have allowed it. If the very things under you, you don't take dominion, the things that are not under you, they're all coming over you. So choose, tithe. So it first begins by you choose. And for that choosing, you have to learn to say no. So I say, just say no. Because at the end of it, think about it. Whatever that project is, I went to a leaders meeting. Someone invited me. So there was a saying from Condoleezza Rice. Was the Secretary of State, or I don't know if I got it right, in the US. And she told her team, immediate team, she's like, don't wake me up in the night at 3 in the morning if the king of some country is dead. Because he's going to be dead even when I wake up in the morning. So only wake me up for important things. What was she doing? But she was setting a principle. My point is, whatever the thing is that kept you from the word, you'll realize in the hindsight, it was not really important. Whether it was a dog or a circumstance or a boss or a project that you're making money that is added in someone else's company, it's materialistic things. And at the end, you'll realize it was all about the word. But see, a son is discerning. That means you have to discern it, that this is coming to take away the most important thing. And if you learn to govern it, it's almost like God looks at it, how you handle it in the small. Like, how can you manage my money? Oh, you're able to manage it so well, Priya, not get distracted by the money. Now I can give you more. But if I get the money and I'm distracted by the very blessing he's given me, he's like, you know what? My greatest investment is the word. I can't give you more. It's because you have gone away. So I cannot. He's like a good father. He won't give it. But if I learn to steward it, then he can release more. So if I learn to steward time, he gives me more time. What does she do with all the time? Oh, she's sitting with the word. Oh, investing it. Oh, let me just bless her. She's able to choose. She's able to say no to things. Learn to say no. Just do it. Now, I'll tell you why. Is because it is here. We are not here where you have to worry about loss. You're here because you're doing it unto him. If you do it unto him, there is no loss, there is gain, because it says he puts his hand out and says, this will not be taken away from her. That means something came to say, I'm going to take away, and Jesus says, no, now I hold it for you. That means this is sanctified. That means you don't lose anything. You don't lose that job. You don't lose. In fact, you gain favor. If you've never done it, do it. Most people don't say no. Just say no and then see what happens. If you lose it or gain it, there is no loss in God. Always remember that. I just see that people don't say no. It's just sometimes it's just a meeting. I said, why didn't you say no? And I feel sometimes they didn't say no because they didn't think it was important. When you really see something is important, you'll go all out of your way to hold. So it should test your own heart. How important is it for you? Now, always remember, everything in the kingdom is by faith. By faith. God does everything by faith. I learned to hear also by faith. That means that word is constantly alive in you. That means you're able to discern, like, what is God speaking to me? By faith. You put a face on God, you can't hear. It's Hebron spoke. It's PP spoke. It's Rishi spoke. And then you learn to see, no, it's not them. It is the Lord who spoke. Get the face out. By faith, then you'll start hearing things. And that word is just going to hit home for you. How many are receiving what I'm saying? Are you overcoming? The good soil is the one who overcomes the worries. That means the cares, the problems, the distractions, the riches, the pressure, the mother-in-law is saying. I remember in my early times, my mom, I love her. But love sometimes when I know certain things, how the kingdom works, it looks cold, but it is actually love. And her BP was shooting up, and I remember that her BP would only shoot up when I was going for my prayer meetings. I'd go on that Saturday night thing, the BP, something I'd get like, BP has gone up. Then again on Sunday, and I'd like, what's with this? Now, everyone in my family at that point were like, you don't care. She gets BP and you go out. Why don't you stay back? But now see, I have to look beyond this and see who is behind this. And he wants the seed. Now, if I choose the Lord, do you know that her BP will come down? And that would happen to her every time I'd see. I said, in fact, if I go, it will come down. If I don't go, it stays up. And I would do that. And that time she wasn't in the kingdom fully. And so it was such a war, but love looks cold in the flesh. But we are loving in spirit and in truth unto Him. If you want all things, that the Lord sanctifies all of those things for you, then it's your relationship, even in marriage, in everything. We're teaching, beloved, you think it's with the other person, it's actually with the Lord. So everything that we are doing is with the Lord. So who changed the boss's heart for you that you could come? Who changed the husband's heart? The Lord. So everything that we are doing, our relationship is not horizontal. You think the problems and everything is horizontal. You solve it vertically. And then you'll be able to, you'll see the manifestation of it horizontally. Are you excited about time? I've never heard anyone share this on time. This principle of tithing time. But you tithe at a time by choosing the one thing. One thing. Now, there is no condemnation, but I'm just saying start doing it, start applying it. Choose the one thing. So now, for example, in this part, what would be tithing? This time, don't fall asleep. I know lethargy comes, but it will not come to you in a movie, Shah Rukh Khan movie. You can't close your eyes there. In fact, they're wide open. How? The devil doesn't really care. I remember I gifted somebody a Bible, my brother's friend, a Bible. And I said, so how's the Bible going? He said, Priya, I use it. Huh? He said, carry it every time. He said, because whenever I can't fall asleep, I open it and I fall asleep. So someone complained to me, that they can't fall asleep. I said, you're not hearing the word. You're not reading the word. Because I know when you open the Bible, suddenly you want to fall asleep. Listen, I don't want to say how many years because people are calculating how old I am in the flesh. I've walked in the Lord. I know He said don't swear, but I swear on, no, I want to swear on the dog also. I have never allowed myself to go to sleep in church for, how long I've been saved. How? I chose because I knew the investment of it. How many, when someone is making investment of your money in some things, are going to go to sleep? I'm helping someone wake up here. No. But why do you go to sleep? Because you don't think it's important. I don't care. When your heart changes in this, when you see it important, you'll tape your eyes and you won't go to sleep. I promise I never went for so many years. Never went to sleep. I chose not to because I knew that this is the greatest investment. I need to hear this. And when I hear this, things are going to change in my life. So if you think, why am I always high on the Lord? I chose the highness. It is a byproduct of the investment of the word. It's returning. You want time? You, beloved, are going to have multiplication of time. I'll give you one simple thing. What's going to happen? Really, I really see that because you can discern. I'm teaching you, the Lord is teaching you how to discern to rule. You want to be blessed with time? Now time is coming to you. Lots of time. Where the boss says, do this one project. What is that? Sit at home and work? Work from home? Remote? You want that? I never wanted that. I don't understand what happened in COVID. Everyone worked from home. They just started wearing night suits. And then people would come out in night suits also. I'm like, but we're not sleeping. Really, dress up inside. You're sitting. I don't get the work from home. But I'm just saying you're going to get multiplication from time. Next time, every Sundays, come here for 9:30. If you live in Bombay, I have people who've messaged me and writing why the Wednesday has shut up completely because we're doing in house. Outside, internationals feel. I said the locals are though still. You don't know, you don't value it. You don't see it as the one thing. And start seeing it as the one thing. I'll tell you what will happen. If you are here, there is something about faith that comes because you're making a choice about it. Whenever it's not a choice, it takes nothing. It's not faith. But when you make a choice, when it is of faith, everything about God's kingdom is by faith. And He loves faith. It takes faith to get out of the comfort, to drive somewhere, to come. It takes faith to do that. But on Zoom, it just doesn't take faith. It's a click. It's easy. It's comfortable. You are seeing what I'm saying. Now, I can't make you explain this logically, but I'll show you something the minute you start doing it, and you will start seeing what is it that I used to see on Zoom before, but I started physically going. And how come my problem disappeared? Because you're becoming very serious about Him. You're not becoming familiar with Him. That's what's happening. You're starting to see Christ. I'm very serious about these. Like when I'm at a table, I told you I was sharing the gospel with somebody. Now, when in my mind, if I'm going to give the gospel to somebody, I'm going to give the gospel because I'm going to get them into the kingdom. There is no plan B. Now, I'm sitting at this table and I'm sharing, and I can see at this table, I have some group of people sitting, and now distractions come with food. Now, I have eye contact with this person, locked in, this person. This is the moment. Imagine heaven is rejoicing. Now, for me, I see it that way. That's why I get anger. But I know that maybe at some other table didn't see it that way. When it's your one thing, then you can't handle anything else. That's why the holy anger comes in. Because for me, it is that one thing. It is the most important moment for my Father. Why should food come in? And then what happens? People start talking and little noises and just about food. Dessert. Is that important? And I could see how the devil is at that table, but the sons weren't discerning. It was the devil. And they really couldn't see it. And I could see, I was like, whoa. And I'm trying to so lock in. I can see this person's eyes going to little conversations. And I'm like, hold that seed there because I know what's happening. I'm getting the heart into the kingdom. Now, see, the very people that want this moment cannot discern it. And it's like the Father saying, this is what you've prayed for. And you are not able to discern it. And I had to bring some correction on that. But can you discern things? You are becoming discerning. You are becoming so discerning that you can walk into a space and then see how right now this was the Lord, this is not the Lord. And you learn to rule over things. You are understanding what I'm saying. That's why, beloved, we keep the food less. Why? First of all, anyway, you go to sleep without the food. Imagine with the food, what will happen. So we keep the food less because this is your time for the real food. So you come in for that, so you go, and that word is working. Your words, beloved, are spirit and they are life. They will do what they're supposed to do. So you quietly just go speak those words to your boss. And then all of the kingdom is going to back up the words. If you don't speak it as it is, how is he going to back you up? Because Jesus is like, "Arey, itna gholmal kiya khichdi, I can't even back it up." You are understanding what I'm saying? You know, when my mom, I used to tell her when she used to do the idol worship and all of that. So I told her I used to play JP inside the room loudly, that she would hear the word outside. And I would do all these things for a lot of time. And then I would tell her, I said, Mom, what you're doing, the Lord doesn't exist there. I said, all of these, they look like animals or whatever. I said, all creation worships God. I said, so they also worship God. They will also jump and say that this is Jesus. And the stones and the trees, because the Bible talks about it. Now, she would get offended at it. But I said, but I'm sorry, but all the demons and all of creation knows who the Creator is. Now, if I had not spoken this truth as it is, truth is truth. It doesn't need to be layered up. In fact, truth is offensive sometimes. Because Jesus is truth. And he offended people. But what in them got offended? Probably the lies or the things that they thought were truth got offended. And it's like the dam that needs to get out. And so I have to speak it as it is, having boldness to speak it. And then what happened? One day, Jesus shows up in her dreams. And the very idol that she's worshipping is jumping and saying it is Jesus. But could he have borne witness if I had not spoken the truth? So when she saw that, her own idol that she worships, why is he jumping and saying, Jesus, hey, but Priya already said that to me. Now he can bear witness to the truth. See, I had muffled it up so much and not said anything. Should have not even known what that meant. You're understanding what I'm saying. Truth is truth. The sun is what color? Yellow? Is it gray, bluish, yellow? So then in the dream also it has to come gray, bluish, yellow. What is it? It's yellow. Stick to the truth. The way it is. Simple. Okay? And the heaven will back you up. Now see this. I want to go to Ephesians 6:10. The armor of God. Finally, my brethren, so what do you need in a trial? The pressure, the persecution, the distraction, the cares, all of this, because you're guarding that seed. The Bible tells us to do two things. Okay, there are two verses for this. So I'm going to show the armor of God. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand. Now, stand does not mean, Rishi, come here. To stand against the wiles, tricks, or deceit, craftiness of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand, therefore. Now, stand, when I looked up in Greek, no, this is not stand. Now, I push you and don't go. This is stand. That means pressure is coming, persecution is coming, job, everything, and now it's saying, what is this? This is stand. It's talking about establishment. Thank you, Rishi. Now we'll read this. I've taken every word. Stand means it's a stand, not pushover. Stand, having done all. Okay? Now see this. Stand, therefore, having girded your waist. You know, waist there in Greek is not waist, it's loins, your reproductive parts. With truth. Having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace, above all, taking the shield of faith. The shield in the Roman time was not itna shield. It was a whole shield, a whole body shield. Like it covers your whole body, okay? The shield of faith, in which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one. Take up the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. You know, I looked up the sword of the Spirit, and I thought it's this big, long sword. You know what that word is? In Greek, it's a dagger. It's a dagger, but it cuts really hard. It's used to slice. The sword of the Spirit. What? That everyone is coming, I can just do. Yeah, I was shocked yesterday when I read it, because in my mind I was to think like that. And then the word for sword, I looked up in Greek, it's a short dagger. It is this what you keep, and you remove it to slice, because it gets the job done fast. The sword, the word of God is sharp. You use it. So all the standing, and then the sword is just here. Okay, now see this. 1 second. Praying always in all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end, with all perseverance and supplication for all saints, and for me, that utterance may be given to me, that I may open my mouth, what? Boldly. So what does, in a trial, in the pressure, in the persecution, what are the things that you need? First, you speak boldly. That's what he's saying here, that I may speak boldly. And sometimes boldly in Greek, this is what it says: outspokenness, frankness, bluntness. That means unquoted truth. You're speaking the truth as is. You speak the truth, now you stand. So what did this person do in Dubai? Yeah, she spoke it. It ruffled and everything, that even the mother-in-law saying, see, you said this, no puja, now see all these bad things are happening. So I said, 1 second, let's dissect this. I said, so what is she saying? Who's causing these bad things? That you said no to the puja, so we should do the puja because this God is angry now? Is that what we're saying? And he is causing all the bad things? So 1 second, I said, you have children under you. No matter how terrible they are, will you ever do anything bad to them? Be honest. No. So obviously, you know that this person who you're worshipping is not God because he is doing bad things. You don't worship darkness. We worship the true living God. So I said, so stand. First, let's discern. So what you're saying is you want to do the puja because he's doing bad and you want to go. It's like a terrorist holding a gun, no, at your head. And what does he do? And then he makes you do all the bad things. Go and do. That's what you're saying. Let's discern. In India, there's no, I feel, discernment. They don't question only things. Who's doing first? All these bad. So let's think. I said, so 1 second. So obviously he's not God. He's the devil. Now you stand because you're doing something right. And you stand so that all those things will bow down to you. That's what it's saying. The pressure and persecution comes to stumble so that you go away from the source of the one who got you into the kingdom. And pressure and persecution comes for everybody. And in that time, you have to stand. And if you stand, always know that truth will always win. It might take time, but truth always wins. Say, I am truth. I am just like my Father. I stand. Okay? Now see this. It says here, outspokenness, frankness, bluntness, to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, that in it I may speak boldly as I ought to speak. So in a good soil, you need boldness to speak. So the good soil is one who goes and says to the boss, sorry, but Sundays I can't do this. I can't. Now you're not asking. Please don't go ask. If you go ask, they will walk all over you. I go tell. You know what's the difference? I learned this in my jobs. I work with karigars, artisans. If I ask, kab dene wale hai na? Kab dene wale hai in Hindi. It means, when are you going to give me? They can give you next year also. In India. I never ask when. I say, boss, I want it on. I tell them when I want it. You're a king. King is asking his people in the kingdom, when you will come. What does a king do? He will state when he wants it. So I tell them, I want it. No, I want it in 2 days' time. And you'll see how in the small things you learn to be boss, meaning king. Learn to exercise your kingship. In the other things also, things will come. So for a good soil, you have to learn to speak boldly. That means tell that client, no, I can't. Tell the mother-in-law, no, I can't. I am not asking for permission. I am going. If you ask for permission, they see it. Very good. I'm telling you no. But if you don't, you're going. It looks outspoken. I'm sorry, but this is sonship. You have to stand up for the truth. Paul was going in places he was not even invited. He is not waiting for invitation. He is going and speaking it. And then what happens? You see the kingdom back him up. It works like this. You have to learn to say no. Sanctify it. First choose. And if you choose, you say no. You chose the one thing, then he goes ahead and sanctifies it for you. And then he makes sure that even the boss can't take it from you. That's what it means. You are seeing what I'm saying. I've seen it in my life. So I'm telling you this. Start exercising it in the small things. So right now, for you to just ground it, start doing it for the Wednesday SLS and the Sunday. Don't come on time. 9:30, get up. You won't miss your flight. Right? But you can miss praise and worship. No, come for the small things that look insignificant. But come. Why? Is because it is establishing you in faith. Faith is not there. Faith is gone. It becomes familiar, right? Everything becomes routine. But how do you keep faith alive? It's in that where it's the word, but I choose to come for the praise and worship. I want to come that. It's a choice you make. And you see in the choice that you make, because it is by faith, you'll see that you go and suddenly, maybe the problems just took care of themselves. Our whole life, sons, your life, my life, the minute you got born again, is a finished work. Jesus' life, when he walked on this earth, is very sanctified. That means he was walking and then people came to take him, and then someone said, no one could take him because his time had not yet come. What does that mean? Then a demand comes of money for him, and money is suddenly there in the fish's mouth. And then he says, go open that mouth. That means there's no lack. There's no time management issues. No one can touch him everywhere where he's going. But how does all of this happen? Because he is after the one purpose why he has come. And you and me, if the purpose is there, what we are called for as sons of God, here, destroy the works of the devil, that all of this, Father, you've given me. Yeah, I'm supposed to multiply, and I'm here in this world, not to build Priya Patil studio. It really won't matter. Not to be a stylist, but I'm here to bring the lost in and to show them and establish sonship. That is the vision you've given me. I'm going to do it with all my heart. Not give you crumbs. I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep the center of everything that I do. And when I keep it the center, the money is there. Everything gets aligned because I've not allowed the distractions to come and take me off center. And then he multiplies it. In relationships, husbands, wives, God blesses you with the spouse. But don't make everything about the spouse. Keep the center why it is meant to be marriage with a vision for his purpose. The minute you go to draw each other to you, you'll realize it doesn't work. But the minute you're literally getting everything from him, and he is the center of everything in that, and you're even probably encouraging each other about that, you'll realize how things are settled even here. I've seen this. It's the principle of the tithe. Tithe. It is that. It's almost like it's sanctified, so there are no distractions, whether they're coming in from the extended family or anything. It's just guarded because you learn to guard the one thing that is needed, and it will not be taken away from you. I love that. It is not going to be taken away from you. In every decision, in every choice, sons, choose him. Choose the word. It means sometimes taking that word, like how Joshua did. And I'm choosing that, and then it's not taken away from me. It's almost like then the word holds you. You're understanding? Every time you go through an exam, I'll take the rest next week. When you go through an exam, why do you go through an exam? It's the test to see what you already know. How many have gone to the exam and start learning? Exam simply shows, trial simply shows actually what is already in you. This is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. Now Jesus is taken in the wilderness. Jump from here if you're the son. Make the stones bread if you're the son. Worship me. I'll give you everything if you're the son. So what did the devil hear before that? The voice that came from heaven that said, this is my beloved son. So now he goes after the word because something was already established. So the trial, you're not going through to get something. You're going through because you have already got something. And now everything is coming to suggest that you haven't got it. And that's where you stand. Okay? Stand and withstand. Are you born of the incorruptible seed? Are you learning to rule time? You're going to be blessed with multiple time. That means you're learning to tithe time. We tithe our money, but now start tithing time. How do you tithe time? Choose the one thing every time. Choose the one thing. Choose him. I choose. First, it's a choice. But the choice comes by first saying no. That means something came and someone had to say no. So then she chose by saying no. And now, when you do that, now Jesus goes ahead and guards your choice. That means there is no loss. Always remember that there's no loss. He will protect it. Okay? I chose to say no to him. To say no to busyness because it took time away from me, from him. And I didn't even know I was going to get something bigger. And it's almost like he went and said, you know what, you chose me. Now you see what I do for you. I will bless you with so much time, with so much little work, so much time, and so much money. Do all of you want that? Yes. I do believe it's going to be released in the body. Okay. And it is getting released. I'll take next week the continuing of the armor of God, of the trials. Okay. And we'll talk about even the testings that come from God and what it makes us do to see inside us and to take the old man out, okay? To destroy the dam, the stronghold, so that his life can flow. I am crucified with Christ. It is no longer. So God is getting the I out of the way so that Christ can start living in me. So where there's I, there is. But if I is not there, it's all Christ living in us. Okay, let's take a tithe. Now we're going to tithe time today. Okay, now I want everyone first, you are going to choose the one thing. Choose. It's a choice. Every situation that you get for the word, it will be a choice. And I want you to first just simply choose it. Say, Father, I choose this as important. Choose it, okay? You're going to say that. And now I know that this is what God is going to do. He's going to multiply time for you. That you will be a people walking in the world who will just have so much time. You're going to have the money. He's going to bless you with it. But you're also going to have a lot of time for him. Okay. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to work for 1 hour and you're going to finish up things that people are taking maybe 10 hours to do. That's what he does. He's going to do that because you chose the one thing first. Okay. So close your eyes. Say, Father, I'm a son in your kingdom. Jesus, you're my high priest. And right now, I give you a tithe of all the increase of all the life that I heard. And Father, Jesus, I choose you. I make a decision to choose you, to choose the time for the word. And I thank you, Jesus. I offer this to you as a tithe, and you're going to multiply this in my life. Show, just worship him. Shikrahadar huro hostoro hodororopa. Sheriarara katiriarara papa horo hostoriarara. Hilarara katuro hodoriarara papa sheriarara. Amen. Sons, you are outside time. That's why you can rule over things. Okay, Jesus is not bound by time. He makes time. He releases time. He can multiply time. Okay, and that's who you are.